The best way to get better at programming is to practice. In today's example, we're going to work with conditions, including the if statement, but also an else. What happens if our condition is false? This is a continuation of our first example with our basic conditions. In that example, we took three values, found the average, and then said if someone passed and congratulated them with an A. In this example, we're going to do more of a pass or fail, depending upon if they made a 70% average or better. You can pause this video and then continue on to check your answer. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and hard code in the test scores. That way we don't have a bunch of inputs for users. Now we'll set the average. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and do our if statement. So if average is greater than or equal to 70, colon, and this is just like the previous if statements that we used, very easy to write. You passed. Now, if our condition is not met, so anything that's less than 70, okay, because we're using greater than equal, that means greater than or equal to 70. So anything less than 70, we're going to use an else statement. Now, if we don't have the else, it just ignores it. But because we have an else here, we get to provide a different set of instructions. And we'll simply write you fail. I'm going to save this, run it. Notice that because those test scores were hard coded in, we didn't have to do any inputs, it came up and calculated you passed. If I change these values, let's say 42 and 66, if I save it and run it, notice it came up and it says you fail. Now, you might be thinking, well, how do I know that it was a valid passing or failing? I don't know what the average actually was. So let's modify our print statements just real quick. Passed. And so notice I say you passed with A, and for the fail, so now my output is a little bit more user-friendly because not only do I say if they passed or they failed, but now I'm going to show them what the average was. Here, I kept my failing. It says you fail. I only had a 62.66666, and on it goes. Now you might think, well, wait a second. This might be a great chance for me to use that format command. And you'd be absolutely correct. Format. Average, comma, and then say 0.2f. So 0.2, notice it's a floating point number now. I'll save it and run. Notice that it comes up, you fail, you only had, and now it shows 62.67 instead of 0.66666, etc. Okay, so I can do the exact same thing up above. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to change that from a 42 to a 92. Save and run. Notice it says I now pass with a 79.33. So very easy for us to make those quick little changes. Format so it's a lot more user friendly. And this lets us know both if we passed or if we failed, which might be helpful compared to sometimes an application runs and you don't get any type of feedback. So that's how you use the else to check for what happens if our condition was not met inside of our if statement.